Today we're doing mock drafts, me and Double A. To enter our giveaways, join us at Patreon. It's only $1 a month. That's to keep away spammers, the scammers, and the bots. However, if you want to pay a little bit extra, you can get access to our charts, analytics, rankings. But no further ado, let's get right into it. Mock draft time. So this is our first mock draft of the year. Kind of put it off a little bit.
Yeah, a little.
A lot of major trades made us redo everything a few times. But we don't just throw names out there. At least I do my due diligence and make sure the scheme fit works. So sometimes
just best guy available.
And not to like shit on NFL.com or CBS, but a lot of times they're like, oh, they need an edge, here's an edge. And it's like, yeah, that's a 3-4 guy, and they run a 4-3. It's not going to be him. So put a little bit more work in than the norm, so it takes a little bit longer to actually possess a single mock draft. But we'll have a big one, a revised one, right before the actual draft. We'll see how we did.
Yeah.
But I think mine's better than yours.
I know mine's better, but that's...
I will say, this will probably be a year where there's a lot of trades.
Probably. I want to do more, but it's hard to predict trades.
Yeah, I have one trade.
You have one? I have two.
So...
I think the first two guys are pretty common for everybody out there. And then the draft really starts at 3.
Yeah, we're going to run through some of the obvious ones, and we'll go a little more in depth on ones that are needed. So I have Trevor Lawrence at 1, Zach Wilson at 2.
Yep.
We differ a little at 3. I think the Niners are going to go Mac Jones.
I don't see him going Mac Jones.
He's just...
They moved up all that way, and at that time... Fields was about the second or third guy, and then all this stuff started coming about. He's not a very hard worker, and then starting getting all these knocks, and then all of a sudden it comes out, it's Mac Jones. They're going Mac Jones. It's a solid point. I'm not buying it. I think it's Fields.
I think this is where analysts get a little bit cute. I do kind of follow that in this part, but Mac Jones got a higher rating because he's game ready now. However, the Niners probably aren't going to start him with Garoppolo. So I could see them going with the upside, which there's less upside with Mac Jones. He's just more ready to play right now.
Yeah, I think Fields just fits better with him.
Yeah, I just think Fields is a little too much work, and I don't think they're really good at developing a quarterback because they've shown that. So that's why I was like, maybe they go Mac Jones because it'll be easier on them to develop. Otherwise, Jimmy G would have been better than he was.
He definitely should have been better.
But 4, I got Kyle Pitts. And the reason I have Kyle Pitts is because I don't think the Falcons I think they know they have 3 years at least of Matt Ryan.
It's 2 years at least, and then they can do whatever they want.
Yeah, but they're not going to cut him. He'll retire there.
They could probably trade him. I don't think he'll retire there.
I think he might. I don't think he's going to pull Tom
Brady. If he
Brady.
retires in 2 years, then yeah, but I don't think he will.
But regardless, I think they just take the best player on the board. I know they got a lot of offensive weapons, but Kyle Pitts is the best player on the board. I don't think one player here on defense is going to fix their team, and no defensive player...
Well, yeah, I think the Falcons are going to go with Pitts there. I mean, he's the best guy there at that high. I think that they should have him. They're kind of missing a tight end ever since they got rid of Hooper, and he's better than Hooper. And I can see him changing this offense to make it a lot better.
Yeah, they could go offensive tackle, maybe corner, but the tight end is a need, and he's the best player on my grade sheet in the draft. Just Kyle Pitts is, outside of quarterbacks, which are big needs, but... Yeah, so
I can see him trading back, but I'm not sure if they'll get the value that they're looking for.
Yeah, I think they'll definitely try. Which brings us 5 to the Bengals. I think the Bengals, and most people had them at offensive tackle. They do need an offensive tackle, but there's so many good offensive linemen in this draft that I think maybe they go and team them up. Team Jamar Chase back up with...
I see that happen. I don't think it should happen. But I see that happening.
I don't necessarily think it should happen either. And I even think that they'd be okay with the tackle that they have. They need more of a guard.
They need that whole inside.
Not the whole inside, but they definitely need offensive line help. Otherwise, you're not going to have a quarterback because he's going to break his other leg in half. But I think they do go aggressive and get Jamar Chase, personally. Which brings us to Miami. I think Miami moved down because they don't want a quarterback. Mm-hmm. They moved back up to grab one of these elite weapons.
Yeah. So 3 was just too high to take one of these guys. Maybe Pitts, but I never saw them taking a tight end.
Yeah, I mean, especially at 3. Quarterback's going. They made out like a bandit on that deal.
Yeah.
So at 6, I have him for a wide receiver here because in my book, there's really 3 elite wide receivers. I think everybody else is good. I mean, there's sneakers like Jalen Darden out of North Texas. I think that's a wide receiver that could go 3rd, 4th round that could have this much elite talent. But there's only 3 solidified guys, and I think they wanted one of them. And here I have them having Devontae Smith.
Yeah, I gotta agree with that. I mean, any of these receivers, I think they're hoping for Jamar Chase, but they're happy with either one that they get right there.
Yeah. All right, down to the Lions. Still no trades have happened. I got the Lions taking Caleb Farley, and I like Caleb Farley the most. And I know the general consensus is Surtain, and I like Horn too, but I think Caleb Farley fits the Lions' defense the best. They need a corner, so they lock him up.
They do need a corner, but they need pretty much an entire team. I think they need to get what they can in value to get as many players as they can with potential. And this is where I have them trading back with the Patriots to get Trey Lance.
The Patriots don't move in the first round.
They don't. But this is a different year. I think.
So we don't believe in Cam?
Oh, no, I never believe in Cam.
Does Trey Lance start week 1? Or
no,
maybe week 8?
I think Cam is going to start most of the year, if not the whole year. But Lance, I think just the upside that he has and what we could probably teach him or coach him, I think you have to go there with him. And at 7, that's pretty good value. Instead of going up to the Falcons, a lot of people have like the Broncos or the Patriots or even the Panthers, some people. But this price, I think it's a good price to pay up for a quarterback.
Yeah, I mean, if you need a quarterback, you got to pay for him. I mean, the Patriots still have a lot of needs. They're a good team right now, but
it's a solid roster. You don't have to have anything, but a quarterback for the future is what you really need.
Corner, safety, wide receiver. They need offensive line depth, but not necessarily offensive linemen. So I could see him making a move right here.
Yeah,
I could see him making a move right here. The Lions, on the other hand, they're close, which is silly.
They need things.
They need
stuff.
Corner, offensive tackle would be a good pick for him, but we'll see. Panthers. I have the Panthers taking Micah Parsons.
Micah Parsons, that's a good pick for the Panthers.
Because they lost some linebackers. They've always had solid linebackers. They need one now. Might as well take, by far and large, the best linebacker in this draft, and I would go back a couple of years. Micah Parsons is phenomenal.
He is pretty good, but I have Washington actually trading up with the Panthers right here, and this is my second trade. I thought maybe the Panthers, maybe the Broncos. I don't see the Broncos getting a quarterback, but the Washington, they need something because Fitzpatrick is not the future. And to get Mac Jones, I think to pair with them would be phenomenal. And the Panthers can still get someone of good value in the first round while getting another high-value pick.
If the Patriots are going to move up to take Trey Lance, and there's one guy left, Washington would be the team to go do it. I don't know how that fits, but they just need a quarterback.
They need somebody.
I can get on board with that. 9, I have the Broncos. Broncos need a corner. They lost some pieces last year. They need a lot. They need a linebacker, tackle, corner. They need a center. They need a nose tackle. They need edge. They may need a quarterback. I still think it's too early.
I think he needs
the season they had.
I think he can be a very good starter.
So I have him taking the other really top end corner, Patrick Surtain, right here.
Yeah, it's a great corner. It's what they need. I think right here is where I have Micah Parsons going. Fill that linebacker need for him.
Yeah, I can see it. That's their biggest need.
Yeah, that's where I see it.
I would have had them take Micah Parsons, but the Panthers stole it from him. Number 10, we have Dallas. Now, I really wanted to put a wide receiver here, just piss off Dallas fans. I really do.
It's always a possibility.
But I think because they need a tackle. They've always had a solid tackle. They lost a guy to being old. They lost guys to injuries. They've not had good offensive line play. So let's get a tackle, a good one in Penei Sewell. And you don't have to pay him that much because he's a rookie. I think this is typically why you see tackles go in the first round. If you can get a solid guy, you don't have to pay. Dallas is strapped for cash. I think it's just a no-brainer at this point.
Yeah, because they were really paying that line a whole bunch, but I could see him going with the tackle with Sewell. Yeah, that offensive line, it does need help. It's been deteriorating the last couple of years. Sewell falling this far, I can definitely see it, but I think they have to fix that defense, and they can get Surtain here with that pick. Some people's number one corner, I think he fits well with them and can be a great player for them.
Yeah, I think that's a general consensus is Patrick Surtain right there. I had him out right off the board, though. So, Giants. We have the Giants at 11. Gregory Rousseau. My personal favorite defensive end. He's not the sexy guy, but he's the safest option.
He seems like a solid.
He can transfer power to speed the best. He can move his weight around. So, he can seal the edge and pass the rusher. He's not elite in either one of those categories, but he's solid in both. And he's the only one in the draft, in my opinion, that can provide both. So I have them taking a defensive end here.
Yeah, I have the Giants taking my number one corner, J.C. Horn, here. I think that helps solidify that defense up a whole lot more.
Eagles, 11. Jalen Waddle. Why? I think he's the last of the elite wide receivers, and I think they need a wide receiver, and Waddle kind of is the guy they usually draft and go with. Kind of fits what they like to do.
It seems kind of like their player, but they can't take a receiver here. That, I think, would just be bad for the whole organization. They need to get, I think, an offensive lineman, and this is where I have Penei Sewell falling, and if he does fall this far, this has got to be their pick.
But there's a lot of tackles in this draft. So there's a few teams that need tackle, and maybe they're going to try to get cute. Kind of like last year, there's a lot of wide receivers, and then they kind of took a while, and then they kind of all went at the same time. Chargers 13. This is where I have my top tackle go off the board, and the only reason why he's the top tackle is because he's very universal.
That's fair.
So Sewell is a good left tackle, but he's a left tackle.
Yeah.
So Slater can play guard. He can play right tackle. He did it, and he did well in all of them. Slater also played left tackle. Yeah, he went up against Chase Young, did great against him. So I think he's a solid left tackle, but more importantly, he's a guy that could fill in any spot. So they can kind of play with some guys and see what works the best. Because they need offensive tackle, they need a guard. I could argue safety as well, or center as well.
Yeah, they definitely need, and that's exactly where I have Rashawn Slater going, is to the Chargers. He just can fit anywhere that they need and help them out in any way on that line that they need. 14,
we have the Vikings. This is where my trade comes in.
Ooh.
There's some players that came off the board. We got some people slipping, and the Washington football team. Washington football team move up because they want their guy, and they're afraid of the Patriots. They're afraid of the Patriots, so I'm sure Vikings called the Patriots as well, and they're like, we get one of these guys. I'm not going to pay capital to move up one spot. So the Redskins, the football team, move up and take Trey Lance at 14.
If he falls that far, that'd be close. But I could definitely see them doing that, especially since he'll have to sit a year with Fitzpatrick there. That'll help him out. But for the Vikings, I have them taking Christian Darrisaw. I think they need to get an offensive tackle for that line, help out Cousins, help out Cook, even though he's lead running back. You still got to get him something.
Personally, I think Justin Fields is a safer pick. But I think Trey Lance is kind of what they like. The RG3 type. I think is much more potential. So maybe they feel safe with Fitzmagic, and they can develop the guy. So Patriots at 15, they're happy. I mean, they didn't move. They sat here, and Justin Fields falls in their lap. I think they take him. I think it might be the best value at this point in the draft.
If any quarterback falls that far, I think they'll be ecstatic to get one of them without having to move up. But I had him training with the Lions earlier, like I said. So I have the Lions here taking Gregory Rousseau. I think, as you said, he's the top end in this league or in this draft, and Lions get him.
Yeah. Cardinals, This is where I see J.C. Horn. They lost Patrick Peterson. They need a corner. Just kind of a match that happened. And at this stage of the draft, I think anybody would be happy with Horn to fall this far.
Absolutely.
There's a lot of elite talent, and then there's a gap. So there's going to be some elite talent here later in the first round than usual.
Yeah.
They get a steal here.
For the Cardinals, though, they do need a cornerback. I could see him taking someone like Newsome. I think he would be there. But I have him taking Jalen Waddle. Larry Fitzgerald, he's going to retire, it seems like. They got A.J. Green, but he's not really a guy. I think you got to go get somebody to pair with Hopkins. I like Kirk, but you need something else.
Yeah, it just seems like the Cardinals have too many receivers that are either too old or too little. They're too old or too little. And Waddle just kind of fits the mold of too little. He's another Christian Kirk. So...
Yeah. But, I mean, you have Hopkins, so you can have the two by him.
I mean, you still got Caleb Farley out.
I do.
He's like my favorite corner.
I think he slides. But we'll get to that.
Raiders at 17. Now, I think the Raiders have taken so much criticism. So, I think Azeez Ojulari is somewhat risky. But the potential upside is Khalil Mack. He is super fast. He's a little bit of a tweener, but he's super fast. He's a big guy that doesn't know how to use power. He's just really good off the ball, off the line. So he could develop if they can teach him how to transfer the power to speed. They could finally stop listening to people complain about Khalil Mack leaving town.
Yeah, it might quite a little people, but I think they need a lineman. They need something on that line. They got to get somebody, and I think they get Elijah Vera Tucker. I think he's probably the second best guard, if not the first. Yeah, but they need somebody, and I think he's a solid guy on the line.
Yeah, I mean, I like him a lot, personally. Elijah Vera Tucker is a great guard. Miami's second pick, 18. They got to protect...
This is kind of a luxury pick for him, I feel like.
It is. But they don't really have that many needs. Now, they don't have elite talent, a lot of elite talent on their team, but their whole team is pretty solid, and they're young. So why not get a guy that's typically expensive that you don't have to pay that much and keep it going? Because their needs are edge, offensive tackle, corner, wide receiver, I guess, safety. You don't typically take a safety in the first round unless they're going to be Jamal Adams.
Yeah, I don't think this high, yeah.
So I think they take Christian Darrisaw. He's a solid offensive tackle, and they're typically expensive pieces. So
they are, but he's gone on mine. So I have him taking an edge in Kwity Paye. I think this is a guy. He's the second best edge that I think is in this draft right here, and he can be explosive for the Dolphins.
Well, the Vikings had moved down to 19, and they take Kwity Paye. I like Kwity Paye as well. I think he's a solid player. He's not gonna be Chase Young, but he's gonna be a solid starter for 10 years.
Yeah. This is where Washington was, but I haven't traded with the Panthers. I have the Panthers taking Caleb Farley here, falling all the way down at 19. I think he just has concerns about him, and some teams aren't going to want to draft him because of medical reasons, and for that, I think they're off some people's boards. He had the back spasms. They're not even sure if he's going to be ready for training camp. In 2017, he was recovered from an ACL. He has the ability to be the number one corner in this draft. He just has concerns, and I have him falling to the third one.
I think if Caleb Farley's there at 19, maybe Joe Douglas moves up from the Jets and takes him. They need a corner bad.
At 19, it would be kind of cheap. Considering who he is, the risk, I think that's good for the Jets if they did.
20, we have the Bears. I have them taking the next highest ranked tackle on my list, which is Jalen Mayfield. I think Mayfield's a safe player. They don't need a lot, but they need offensive line. So I think first of all, the Bears are going to have another problem at quarterback unless they get the offensive line fixed. So might as well address the most important part. I mean, that's pretty much the only reason why they went offensive tackle. But I think Jalen Mayfield's a good, safe, solid starter.
They do need an offensive tackle. They really need linemen there. But I I think they'll take an edge because Aziz and Ojulari, he's still on the board, and I think they don't pass him up right here. Pair him with Mac on the outside, on the other side. But they could go in numerous directions. I mean, they still need a receiver, really. They're kind of shopping Anthony Miller, trying to get him out. It's Allen Robinson. That's it.
Yeah, they could do that. I think Aziz is just a risky player, but he has potential to be a jackpot. 21, we have the Colts. Colts have to go wide receiver here.
They gotta.
They have a good offensive line. They have a good defense. They have some needs on defense, but their defense is solid.
Yeah.
They just got a quarterback. They need...
Get him something. T.Y. signed back, but that's not a weapon that for next year.
Yeah. I like some of their wide receivers, but they need more. They need more. So Rashad Bateman, I think, is kind of what fits the mold of the Colts offense.
Yeah, I think Bateman is just a perfect fit for him. I could see somebody trading up with the Bears and Bears trading back and somebody trying to go get Bateman over the Colts.
I could see that. 22, we have the Titans. Titans actually have a lot of needs.
They do. They lost a lot of people, but they got a lot of people in free agency.
Yeah. I think they kind of lost out on corner. I think they kind of lost out on offensive tackle, wide receiver, tight end, safety. You might as well address some other needs. The defensive front is what they really need to work on. So I think the safest interior defensive lineman is Levi Onwuzurike. I have no idea how to say his last name. But he's probably the best inside defensive lineman in the draft. So I think the Titans need that. I think might as well take the highest person in a need rated in that position. He's definitely a first-round player.
They do need inside defensive linemen, but they lost a lot of people on that offense, on the weapons. They lost Jonnu. They lost Corey. They need to get somebody, I think, De'Ami Brown. I think he just fits with the Titans. To me, that just seems like a good fit for him, and I like him to go get him. That might be a little early, though.
Yeah, that's a
It might be
reach.
someone like Terrace Marshall instead, but I see him getting a receiver.
I could see them liking De'Ami Brown, but I could also see them thinking they could get him in the second round.
Maybe.
23, we have the Jets, and I have Elijah Vera Tucker still there on the board, and they need to protect Zach Wilson. Now, a lot of people will say different things about the Jets' offensive line. Their right tackle position is solid. They're not going to take a tackle. You just drafted a high-round guy, left tackle. He's going to have some growing pains. Your right tackle's solid. Your center did not play well. He didn't. But he's young, and it was a bad year for the Jets. Take him the year before, when he was on a different team, he was a Pro Bowler. So I don't think he's bad. The reason he was bad is because both guards of both sides suck. So they get one here.
Yeah, if he's still on the board, that's a great pick for the Jets. But I have him taking Greg Newsome here because, I mean, obviously they need a cornerback. And falling this far, I think that's a great pick for the Jets.
Yeah, the Jets need 2 corners and 2 guards. So they got to get one of them.
One of them.
Steelers 24. Tevin Jenkins. And this
seems
is
like the guy.
This is a reach, but because the tackles have been running off the board, their biggest need is tackle. They're getting smoked from the left side. Just aged out. You know, he's not the same player anymore. I think everybody knows it. They need a left tackle. They get Tevin Jenkins. He's going to be a godsend to Big Ben.
Yeah, I completely agree. They need somebody on that line.
Oh, you have the same thing.
Yeah, Tevin Jenkins.
25, Jaguars' second pick. I have him taking Alex Leatherwood. Got to protect Trevor Lawrence. Got to protect him. Why do I like Leatherwood? Because Leatherwood, he can play anywhere on the line. Play anywhere on the line. And he's good at it. I don't know if he's an elite left tackle. But I know he can play tackle. I know has the ability to. But if he can't play left tackle, the guy's really good center and a really good guard. He's played a lot of tackle in college. He might not be as good as Penei Sewell. But he could. Throw him out there. If it doesn't work, he's still got a starting offensive lineman.
Yeah.
So I think it's just a good pick.
Leatherwood, he is a good tackle, but for the Jaguars, I completely agree. They need to get somebody to protect Lawrence, and I think Samuel Cosmi, I think he's the guy. He's very strong. He's big. He holds his ground. He can really just run you over if you try to, but the speed rushers is where he really has trouble with, but he still gets a hand on him most of the time, so I think he could be a solid tackle.
Yeah, I think he's a first-round tackle. The only problem with Samuel Cosmi is he's only played tackle. And the little bit of time he played a different position on the line, he struggled. So he's a tackle.
He's a tackle.
I just think they need multiple people. Browns, 26. Christian Barmore. He's a very good interior defensive lineman. I think the Browns need that the most. The most. Because I think a lot of their defensive problems was no push. They had no push. And Christian Barmore can clog the run. He can even provide some pressure. Not that they need pressure here. They need to clog the run. And he's just a big guy that can stop the run, fill gaps. And that's what they need more than anything else, in my opinion.
Yeah, the Browns, I think they take an edge in Jalen Phillips. And this is a guy who could possibly be the number one edge in the entire draft, but he retired in 2018 because he had concussions, came out of retirement, and now he's trying to play again. And this could be a monster to pair with Myles Garrett on the other side for the Browns. They're looking for somebody to pair with them, and they can't quite find anybody. And him falling this far, I think, gets it as long as he can stay healthy.
Yeah, if you wanted to double dip and have monster edges and just people run up the middle on you. But yeah, the only reason why Jalen Phillips wasn't taken in the top 4 picks is because there's risk there.
Yeah.
My very next pick, I have the Ravens taking Jalen Phillips for those reasons. I think just they want the upside, they want the speed. It's a good player.
I have the Ravens taken right here. The safety, Trayvon Moehrig. I think he's going to be taken in the first round somewhere. I don't know where, but I have him going to the Ravens. They could use a safety. There's not really an edge that really fell to him, especially with Jalen Phillips getting right there before him. I think they go with safety in the number 1 on the board.
They could. He is a first-round talent. The only reason why safeties don't go in the first round more often is because of the money thing. You get these guys locked up for a long time. You kind of want expensive players, but he's a good safety. I don't have him going in the first round.
He might not, but it's going to be somewhere in the back end. I feel like he will.
The Saints. Saints at 28, they need corner. They need wide receiver, edge, linebacker, safety, interior defensive lineman. I think the best player for a defensive personnel standpoint is Zaven Collins, linebacker, because I believe he could be the answer at edge. Maybe not, but he's the linebacker that fills a need that they have. That could potentially take that situational player as well. So best player available, in my opinion, is Zaven Collins.
Yeah, I completely agree. He's still on the board right there, and that's exactly why the Saints taken. Fill that hole for him.
Packers 29. I think they go wide receiver. I think they go wide receiver because if they don't, they're just going to have this weird situation with these people, the fans freaking out, and the fans own the team. For the Packers.
Everybody knows what that needs to happen.
So I think they go with that. And the best complementary wide receiver, in my opinion, is Kadarius Toney. With what they have,
yeah.
I think that's the best fit. So that's who I chose there.
Yeah, if they go receiver, I think it's definitely going to be Toney, but I'm not sure if they do go receiver. They might just wait till the second and try to get a playmaker because they could use a linebacker. I think they'll take Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah. I believe is how you say his name. But I think he's a phenomenal linebacker. He's possibly the second best ahead of Zaven Collins, but I think this helps that defense, which they really need help with.
Yeah, the Packers run a 4-3, so I believe he can take that outside linebacker position.
Be good in coverage.
That's they should get defensive linemen. I think he is a linebacker. I don't know if you could move him to end. I don't know if they would, but they might. A lot of teams do that with outside linebackers.
He's an athletic guy who can cover people. I think that really helps him.
Yeah. So I think they should go defensive as well. I just think with Aaron Rodgers and everything that's going on, I think they have to take a wide receiver.
Yeah.
Bills at 30, Jeremiah Osawa. It's a solid linebacker, fits the Bills' mentality. He's not gonna. I don't think he's gonna be the elite edge presence that everyone wants, but I think he's a solid linebacker.
Yeah. I have the Bills taking Carlos Basham. I think they need an edge, but they need quite a few things. They might take another receiver here. I mean, they kind of lost some. All they got is Diggs now. They could take the running back. This could be the first one taken off the board.
Yeah, the reason I went with Jeremiah is because if he doesn't need, because the Bills have a good defense. If he doesn't need to worry about priorities, he could play good linebacker, and then they need him in that situational edge. I think he could sell out and be a good edge piece. So he's got potential for both the situation and the every down. But yeah, I can see Carlos Basham if they just want that edge guy to just get that job done, rush passer. Chiefs at 31. I take Wyatt Davis. He's not a perfect fit for what they're looking for, but if you want an offensive lineman, and he's the best offensive lineman on the board, in my opinion, that's left, you take the best player available. He'll start at guard right now. Now, they have a guard. They have two guards on their roster right now that can play tackle. So I think it just gives them the flexibility to try to fulfill that offensive line. I know they need an offensive tackle, but they also need a center. So it kind of gives them some options. Just take the best player available of need. That's not of need, but it's on the line.
I mean, yeah, they need linemen. I think they take Dylan Reddens here. He's just a powerful guy who's always going to hold his ground, but speed is where you beat him. And if he can get better at that, he'll be an all-around phenomenal tackle.
If the Chiefs believe they can move their right tackle to left tackle, because I don't think Dylan can play left tackle, but he's a solid right tackle.
Might take a little bit, but he might be able to.
32, Buccaneers. This is where I have Jason Owa, edge. Not that they necessarily need to draft anybody here. They're Super Bowl champs. They don't have a lot of needs. Might as well take the highest player available on their board. He's got the highest upside left available. He could turn into a phenomenal edge player. Take a shot on him. Buccaneers, he's coachable. And he's on a team that everyone wants to be on. So I can see Jason getting his full potential.
Yeah, they could really do anything they want here. It's kind of like the Chiefs last year. But I have them taking Walker Little to help shore up that line. I mean, you can always help that out.
Yeah, and I think they should. They should take an offensive lineman. They need offensive tackle. They need a guard. They need big body players in general. Yeah. But, win some Super Bowls. Like Tom Brady said, like Bill Belichick said, sold out to win. I think the Buccaneers are just selling out to win Super Bowls.
Until you start losing.